I'm Stacy Dolan with Healing Works, and today our topic is using your voice. So at Healing Works in Granbury, Texas, I do a unique therapy called Quantum Neuro Reset Therapy that is a brain-focused therapy of emotional trauma release. And so this is a really good topic. This is something that I've worked on personally, and also something that many of my clients struggle with is using your voice. Because when you have stress in your childhood from trauma or even just personal insecurity, sometimes telling the truth about how you feel is really scary. You might not get validated. You might even get ostracized, for having a certain feeling or opinion. So I really kind of grew up in I guess my coping mechanism was really going along with people and being somewhat of a people pleaser and trying not to be too much trouble for people. And I developed a way of being kind of a chameleon, so everyone kind of thought I agreed with them because I kind of didn't say how I really felt. I think a lot of people can relate to that, and it is a decent coping mechanism for a childhood because it gets you through. But once you get to be an adult and you want to have a real heart connection with people, there comes a time when you have to have that emotional safety where you can really share how you really feel with people or what your opinions are without all that fear coming up. And that's something that I had to work on. There's kind of two different categories that I want to talk about, and there's actually an essential oil that is good for both. And so the two oils would be lavender and spearmint. And so lavender is, hi Tina, lavender is an emotional oil that helps with overcoming fear of saying how you feel, like fear of rejection or insecurity, or being able to get it out. Spearmint really helps, with things like public speaking, right? Opening up your voice, speaking to large crowds of people. And I had a lot of trouble doing really either one of those. And so I have used these oils. I find them to be very helpful. Also in the QNRT realm, releasing trauma around being rejected or being afraid to use your voice, or maybe being around really dominant people where you don't really feel like you'll get heard anyway, that kind of thing. And so to use the oils, you just would put a couple of drops in your hands and breathe them in and just apply them to the throat. And if you're doing both, which is what I was doing, I decided I was going to overcome this fear of kind of saying what I needed to say. And then I ended up doing a whole bunch of public speaking in it, which still really, to be honest, it's not my favorite thing to do. But I do feel like sharing the things that I've learned does change lives, and people appreciate it, and it is a way to promote my work. And since it is so unique, I've had to learn how to explain it to people. And so I had to kind of open up my throat. And I actually, as a young child, had many sore throats. It was kind of something that happened quite often, and I ended up getting my tonsils out at some point, and that seemed to help somewhat. But as an older person, I would very often lose my voice, especially when certain people in my family would come to visit or the holidays would come. I would develop some kind of infection or sore throat, and then I would actually lose my voice. And so, then what I say to myself is, Stacy, what are you not saying? What are you afraid to say? And maybe I didn't want that person to visit, or maybe I really didn't enjoy their company, or I really didn't want to hear what they had to say anymore, but it really wasn't a safe place for me to say that. So anyway, these two oils, lavender and spearmint, are really helpful. And I want to just read you from this book. This is one of my favorite books. It's called Emotions and Essential Oils, a reference guide for emotional healing. And it tells you, and of course I use doTERRA, and I sell doTERRA oil, so that's my favorite oil. Hi Sandy, my friend Sandy's on there, my woo sister. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you about lavender. And this is in the kit you got, Sandy. Okay, lavender aids verbal expression and calming the mind. It's the oil of communication and calm. Specifically, it calms the insecurities that are felt when one risks their true thoughts and feelings. Lavender addresses a deep fear of being seen and heard. These were big issues for me as a young person. Individuals in need of lavender hide within, blocking their true self-expression. While they may be going through the motions of outward expression, they're actually holding back their innermost thoughts and feelings. The expression is not connected to their heart or soul. Lavender supports individuals in releasing the tension and constriction that stems from withheld expression. The bottleneck in communication, my neck is feeling tight just reading this, can result in worried and racing thoughts, anxiousness, and sleep disruption. Due to past experiences, they may feel unsafe or fearful of expressing themselves because of potential rejection. Often they don't allow themselves space to get in touch with all they truly think and feel. Their true voice is therefore trapped within and goes unexpressed. Strong feelings of being unlovable, unimportant, or unheard can accompany this condition. Lavender encourages emotional honesty and insists that one speak their innermost thoughts and desires. Hi, Debbie. I see you. As individuals learn to communicate their deepest thoughts and feelings, they're liberated from their self-inflicted prison. As though open and honest, it's through open and honest communication that an individual has the potential to experience unconditional love, acceptance, and peace of mind. Through Lavender's courageous spirit, one is free to share their true self with others. So it helps blocked communication, fear of rejection, constricted, tense, racing thoughts, emotional dishonesty, hiding, fear of self-disclosure, feeling unseen, unheard, or unloved. Hi, Kim. And so this is really, really tough stuff, and when you have experiences in childhood that are negative, you can start to have some of those beliefs like I'm not loved, I'm not seen, I'm not heard. And it doesn't have to be a horrible, like physically abusive household. It could just be that you have a really sensitive personality and the people in your household are really loud and opinionated. And so what's trauma for one person might not be trauma for another person. But this was really, really an issue for me. And it took me many, many years to learn to tell the truth. And I noticed that even now at 52 years young, I'm still stretching that, because even in friendships, when you tell people the truth, like you tell them, I really don't appreciate what you said, or something that's kind of a really uncomfortable conversation, if there's a person that can provide you with an emotionally safe place where you can really say how you feel and they're still going to love you and they're still going to be your friend, then you can kind of get it out and have that experience of someone accepting you as you are, instead of just pretending like you're okay, with whatever the conversation is. And so I don't know, I might be interested if you want to chime in the comments if this is ever an issue for you, because honestly, I know it's not just me. And many of my clients struggle with using their voice, whether it is a one-to-one, which would be more of a lavender issue, or like speaking to a group, which is more of a spearmint solution, or both. In my case, it was really both. And I think now, in the spirit of the holidays and Thanksgiving, I think the self-love, I'm really good at loving other people, but I had to work really hard at showing that same love and consideration, and I would say emotional generosity, like giving me space to be heard or be small or whatever. I really am not above all that. None of us are. But I didn't really admit to myself what my real feelings were, because I was just really busy taking care of other people. And so anyway, I really have taken that risk in many of my personal relationships, in my family and my friendships, to just really tell people the truth about how I feel about what they say and what they do and how it makes me uncomfortable, or really, I never have had trouble expressing what I'm grateful for or what I admire about people. I mean, the positive things are really easy for me to say, but if you don't say when you're uncomfortable, people keep doing the same behaviors. They keep treating you the same way. And so in being more outspoken and using my voice, I have gotten closer to some people, and I have gotten a little more distant from other people, because I've learned that some people just aren't in an emotional place where they can handle, a challenging conversation. And so I really do require of my close relationships that they that I can be honest. And so it's hard to change, you know, when you're one way for many, many years, meaning you kind of don't express exactly how you feel and you just kind of go along, to saying, you know, I really don't agree with that, or I really am uncomfortable with that idea, or I'd rather, you know, not buy your product, or I would rather, you know, whatever, or I'm going to leave early, or I'm not going to come to an event or something like that. And so anyway, I'm just really, really proud of how much I've stretched in 2018, and looking forward to 2019. Now I'm doing it, you know, more on Facebook, right? And out there in the public, you know, telling my truth, you know. So anyway, I'm curious if you have struggles with using your voice. I encourage you to find a safe person or a safe group of people, and share a little more if you are one of those people-pleasing types, a sensitive type. That's my type, and I think that overcoming that is a stretch. And in the desire to be emotionally honest, you really do help more people. And so anyway, I hope you were stimulated to think about, you know, whether you use your voice or not. And this is really more about people that are afraid to use their voice or struggle to speak their truth. I think there are some people that just spit it all out there, right? And they don't even think about it. And I think that sometimes that can be an imbalance too, where sometimes it's better not to say every single thing that's on your mind, you know? So if it's helpful, if it's useful, I think it's worth the risk. There is a book that's called Crucial Conversations, and if that book helped me a lot, and just throwing it out there, if you have difficulty having difficult conversations, I think that that's a real winner, probably the best book that I've used to help with that. So I hope that in this week that you stretch and say how you really feel. And you can tell me if you want, because I'm interested in how you feel, and I enjoy knowing you. So I'm Stacy Dolan with Healing Works, and I'm going to sign off now. Y'all have a great Tuesday night.